Hello everyone. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. We're getting people into the session here, people coming in, seeing us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram and Twitter and these different places. If you are seeing us out there and you're wondering what this is, maybe you've seen this for the first time, we'll introduce the program in a moment. We'll also share a link where you can actually join us in a Zoom call directly if you want. So keep an eye out for that. And this is the time where we're just kind of getting started, making sure everybody finds their seats, as it were, in the Zoom session, and giving people a moment to get their bearings. So welcome, everyone, and good to have you here. And again, good to see you out there on the socials, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You can see our guest for today, who we'll introduce momentarily, will be joining us. We're very excited about this one today. We always love to have unique and exciting individuals, and we have pulled that off, I think, today as well. All right, let me start introducing the program so you know where you're at and what we're doing. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. What we do is we gather here every Saturday to meet with and learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world, including manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, and of course, piano techs. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft, to help each other, and to create an ever more musical world together. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, an online learning resource that brings you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. You can also subscribe to this program called Piano Tech Radio Hour for just $16 a month. You get direct access to each week's private Zoom call, as well as the archival recordings of over 200 episodes in our member area. You can join at bit.ly/joinptrh. That's bit.ly/joinptrh. And then a few plugs for some other related things you might enjoy and want to get in on. Check out our podcast, pianotechradio.com. We're releasing archival episodes of the program, audio only, of course, not the video. And then some newer episodes we're going to be putting out as well. And then make sure to check out our blog, pianotechniciansmasterclass.substack.com, where if you're a technician and you want that high-level information, this could be your first sneak peek into that wonderful educational content, including voicing, regulation, rebuilding, even some lectures on piano design, some really cool stuff. Get a sneak peek at that on our blog, see if you like it, and then you could subscribe for more. And then, of course, follow us on socials. Again, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can check out our link tree, Piano Tech Masterclass, for all sorts of different links at that point. And then at this moment, we're preparing for a masterclass with Glenn Bingham, formerly Chief Technician of, I forget exactly his role, in digital. He was working with the Spirio systems, and but he was at Steinway for many years, and now he's moved on to do some independent educational projects. He'll be teaching about regulation at a master class here in July. We're excited to do that. All right. So without further ado, let us, though, introduce our featured guest for today, Vika Yermolyeva, which I'm sure I did not pronounce properly, but I did my best. Also known much more simply as Vika. She's a world-class pianist who transitioned from classical music to creating piano covers of rock and metal songs. She gained fame through her YouTube channel, Vika Goes Wild, which has over 750,000 subscribers and 220 million views. Vika's virtuoso performances and original piano arrangements have made her one of the most influential alternative rock and metal pianists around. She offers personalized sheet music as well and performs at private events and concerts globally. You can find out more, of course, at her website. You can just search Vika Goes Wild. Vika, welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a privilege. And you're coming into us from Austria these days, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. And you're originally from the Ukraine. Yeah.
Exactly.
I would love to hear about your background in music. We always like to get a little bit of foundation. Who are we talking to? You know, did you start as like a little one at 4 years old, or were you a late bloomer?
Exactly 4 years old.
Exactly 4 years old. About as early as you can. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. And did you know, were your parents musical? Did you know early on that that felt like it was going to be a focus of your life, or you know, what was that? What was the
Uh,
progress like of the career?
uh, Mom told me that as a child I wanted to be a circus artist. I don't remember that, and I absolutely don't want to be a circus artist now, so I'm happy it never happened. I mean, I was just a kid, but I think somebody found out that I had perfect hearing, I think it's called.
Perfect pitch, yeah.
So yeah, so I was first studying in some little studio in some very small place, and then I transitioned to this preparation class for Kiev, a school specifically for talented, musically talented kids.
Hmm.
But I think at first it was not planned to make me a professional musician because I think my parents, they're not professional musicians. Nobody in my family is. So, but it just kind of slowly went into it because people told them I have some talent, I showed some progress. So they thought, okay, why not? Let's give it a try.
Okay, so just kind
And
of
it got
on.
serious very quickly.
It did. How early on do you remember it, being serious? And when we say serious, of course, there's serious moments, of serious hard work, but if clearly you're enjoying this, what was there an age, at which you kind of started to feel like, wow, this is really serious? Was it like 5? Was it like 6? Or was it like 12 or 13? Or
Oh, somehow I didn't even have to think about it. It was just like, it was just my life.
it was
I
just your
mean,
life?
when
Yeah.
you study in this music education system in Ukraine, it's it was called like Russian music school at that time, because my teacher was studying in Moscow or St. Petersburg, I mean places like that. So it was very serious. So all the kids were trained very high professional level. So I didn't even think about it. It was just like the only way.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about your connection to classical music. I feel like there's actually refreshingly quite a presence online and social media of classical music, of various people who are performers or enthusiasts, various channels and things. You're getting to see that enthusiasm out there. So the classical genre is kept alive. Um, but tell me about your connection, like with classical music. Was there composers that you particularly enjoyed, interpretation styles that you particularly enjoyed?
Well, I mean, as a child, sometimes I think it was a bit hard to be like overexposed to like such serious things like concerts and all this. I mean, sometimes it was. I remember when my parents were trying to sneak me into church for organ concert, and I was not allowed because I was just really too small. I think it was like from 8 years old allowed, or from 10, and I was like younger than that. And I think for me it was a bit like too much, too serious, like but probably it like just like kind of helped my brain develop in some ways. I don't know. I'm not good with analyzing that, but wow, it was a lot. I was sometimes overwhelmed, I think. And of course, as a child, I also loved pop music. I also loved dancing, all that. But I mean, I never thought about playing any other kind of music but classical. It was like never even a question in my head, which I'm a bit surprised about. Why? But somehow that was it. You only play classical music. I mean, you can dance to some other stuff, but the only serious thing is classical, and that's it. I cannot hear you right now. Is what's going
I
on?
muted myself. Sorry, there wasn't.
Okay.
There's a little bit of
I
background noise, so I
do
muted
you do
myself.
you hear if some messages coming because I'm not
No,
very
we can't
familiar with
hear
Zoom calls.
we can't hear any notification sounds, so don't worry about that.
Okay, good.
Um, Yeah, it almost sounds like a job almost. I mean, clearly you enjoyed it again, but I feel like it's just like any person who they have a job, they go and they work at their job, and then if they want to enjoy themselves, they go listen to popular music. Yeah, and
In a
so
way, a bit, and I never thought about why. I mean, because logically, the kind of job is like playing music is the kind of job that you actually do because you enjoy it. So
hmm
it's a bit weird to like have a job, then enjoy something different in your free time when it comes
yeah,
to music. But
yeah,
I only put those things together much later in my life. And
hmm
that's why I decided to actually try to play music that I enjoy.
hmm yeah. That's
Yeah.
fascinating. That must have been. I mean, there's another interview that we did with a guy. I think he was from Lithuania, if I remember correctly. Which will probably air in it might be a while before it comes out. But he discussed being part of a country that was socialist and didn't have sort of the freedom, and it had a very strict system of music, and he was
Yeah.
actually expressing how there was a path that he actually knew what he was going to do, and it was musical, and this is how you did the musical path, and he was on it and he felt very comfortable with it, and then all of a sudden politics changed and he was faced with the freedom to now do whatever he wanted. It was actually kind of jarring. Like, oh wow, what am I going to do here? To
Yeah.
sort of had to find that uniqueness. So I'm sensing that for you personally, there a moment in time where this this connection with uh, your love of popular music uh, awakened? Was it gradual? Was it sudden? Did it feel like it was a response to some sort of, we don't have to get too personal, but personal crisis
Hey,
where you're
you
like,
can, it's okay.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, I was always a bit like outsider. I don't know. I mean, as a child, sometimes there are children that are a bit like outsiders. They cannot really fit in the group, don't have many friends.
hmm
I was this kind of child. I mean, I was never invited to any kind of gathering. Even we were all musicians in all these special schools. So it's not like
hmm
if I would be a musician in some normal school, that would make
right,
sense.
right,
But in this school, it was not about that I'm a musician and they're not.
mm,
I was just, it was my character. I was shy, like overly shy, like awkward, couldn't like talk properly or whatever. I mean, I can understand them totally. I don't blame anyone. But it took me many, many years that I was always feeling a bit like a black sheep.
mm,
And also, I mean, I was always told what to do, where to play, which concert, which competition, where to go. I never actually had like choice in any of that. It was somehow probably part of this educational thing, teacher tells parents, parents make it happen.
hmm
And child is just getting out there and playing. So
hmm
I don't know, it was years and years. I mean, first I finished Kiev Conservatory, then I studied in Weimar and I studied with Lazar Berman in Italy. And then by complete like accident, I ended up to study also in Rotterdam. I mean, I just went there to visit a friend, and he said, "Oh, can you stay 2 days longer and play for my professor?" And I thought, "Okay, why not?" And I played for professors, and he invited two other professors, and apparently that was an exam. I mean, I don't remember like, but I was surprised, and I thought, "Okay, why not?" I mean, one more school, why not? So I also studied then in Rotterdam in Codarts. So I had like two postgrad studies basically. But I always like to feel myself. I always would have to find some place like that played metal or gothic music. I always had to go there to just like feel, like express myself. And it was
hmm
always this disconnect a bit. And also I was told that the way I play, it's a bit like improvisational or like free. And there's certain rules you have to follow when you play classical music. I mean, in like interpretations and things. So you have to respect, obviously, composer. So I mean, it's not
hmm
like I didn't try to disrespect anyone or whatever. But I mean, I was told that I have this tendency to like make it personal or
Mm-hmm.
something. So anyway, but I mean, why I started playing, I mean, obviously as a poor student, I also had like some gigs, like playing in a restaurant or something, and I had to accompany singers, and they always gave me scores. And I mean, I'm good at reading, sight reading was like easy for me always, but I always was just like so surprised how badly those arrangements were written, how poorly, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, piano can do so much better. And it's like they don't use even like little percent of what piano can do. It's just like it's sad. So I always already had to make my own arrangement to make it a bit more musical. And I don't know, it's just and then yeah, I had some personal crisis, nothing was working, and I made my Vika of Vkgoeswild channel with idea that it has to be secret, it has to be anonymous. That's why it's VVK, not even my full name, but just like initials. And my very first videos are all dark because I didn't want to show my face. So my idea was just like to completely be free to express myself without anyone knowing that, because I was like too shy to show anyone. And then like my boyfriend told me, oh, there's this new Metallica song. Seems like you can play it. And I thought, oh, that seems very easy. So I just played, and I didn't, I mean, obviously I skipped the heavy part because it was my first attempt. I just played The Desert Never Comes. And I uploaded on their channel, and suddenly I started getting views and comments, and it was so exciting because I honestly at the time I wasn't sure what to do with my life anymore. Because okay, I finished all the schools I could possibly finish. And my teacher actually told me that, yeah, I'm already too old to like, I'm too old and too Ukrainian because like with Ukrainian passport, it's difficult to get some like official job or something like that. There are rules in countries they have to like really prove that they need specifically you, you know, I mean, this kind of things. But I think my problem is that I didn't know what I want with it. I mean, I love music, I love playing, but I was not ever doing something that really made me feel like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And when I dance to these tunes, that feels like, oh my God, this is like I'm inside this song, I'm inside this music. That feels so right. But I cannot play it because I'm a pianist and there's like no piano in it. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I'm throughout the story, what I'm feeling is like it's almost like you got fed all of this wonderful, rich history of music. It was just put inside you, and you didn't not like
Absolutely.
it. You loved it. And at the same time, there was some uniqueness about you that wasn't really part of it. And so there was something left unfulfilling about even that. Really
Yeah.
wonderful, beautiful musical history and classical and all this stuff, but there was something about it that it really wasn't actually you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also like just a classical music world. I mean, I was a little bit too outsider for that. I think I felt a bit like I cannot behave how I supposed to. I cannot like communicate how I supposed to. I mean, it just didn't feel right for me personally, you know? So, so yeah, I guess how to put it. And also, of course, whenever I came across some piano arrangement, like classical music is so amazing. You can like see such complicated feelings and things expressed with piano. And at the same time, as soon as piano tries to like interpret some pop or metal or rock song, it's like it's all lost. Like it's not even there anymore. And it's just some very simple, uh, not emotional, but just like, you know, like basic. And
Hmm.
it was making me sad because I knew that I can express this kind of feelings that I love about rock and metal and like gothic industrial songs. And piano is capable of expressing it because we have all this classical music to prove it. But
Hmm.
somehow there's like this gap and it's not being expressed in piano. I mean, I'm talking about many, many years ago. Well,
Hmm.
I started like 16 years ago. I mean, now there are many pianists playing rock metal songs, but back then I didn't really see much.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I concur with that as a pianist, right? Oh, and that's one of the things about, I mean, some of rock music and popular music. If you just think about like an electric guitar, right? It's like, well,
yeah,
half the power of it is you can plug that thing in and you get distortion, so you can play two
yeah, of
notes
course.
and then that makes it sound amazing. But then when you do just you just play those two notes on a piano, it's like, well, this is what I lost a
Yeah,
lot
I
there.
know. That's the thing. So that's why when I do arrangements, I'm trying not to like. First, of course, I write down everything, every note that I hear. But then
Hmm.
the goal is to actually find the way to interpret the feeling, like the power, and not just copy the notes, because that's when this problem comes. If you just copy the notes, the power is gone. But then there's some ways to find it because I always know that there should be a way to find it because it's been done and I played it
Hmm.
in classical pieces. So there should be a way, and I always try to find it. So this because I mean music always expresses the same kind of emotion. It's just like different kind of language. Like people in 19th century express it like this Chopin Liszt and like Brahms and but it's still human emotions. So it's just kind of the same things, just like in a little bit different manner of expression.
Hmm. And how do you find that you're achieving these different expressions of the music? Is it through, unique voicings, chords, the range of the piano? Is it different for every song? You're doing a lot of arranging as part of this as well.
Yeah,
So when you
yeah,
play a
yeah.
song, you don't just go pick up the sheet music and play it. You
No, I make it
create
myself.
you create an
Yeah.
arrangement around that. Um, is there anything you can say about your process of arranging? Just is it very
Yeah,
intuitive? Is there any
yeah, it
formal?
is because I wish there would be some rules about that, but maybe there are. I just cannot. I'm not structural enough to make it. So every song I arrange, I don't know how it's gonna be because that's the goal. First, I write down everything I can hear, and then I go to piano and I try to play it and recreate the emotions. And sometimes it's like doesn't work immediately, especially like in songs with lots of space, because with piano, again, there's this problem. You press a note, you cannot change it.
Hmm.
So with guitars, with voices, you can do all these things, but with piano, you have other possibilities. So sometimes the song keeps on working in my head, and then a few days later, suddenly I know how to play it, but I don't really have access to this. So it's just something works on like a back of my
Yeah.
brain. But I only have one goal that I can express the same feelings that I feel when I hear the song by playing it. And
Mm-hmm.
so basically, you give commands to yourself, and then you find the way to make it work.
Hmm. Did you so you said you're kind of improvisational in your interpretation of classical music even.
Mhm.
Um, I'm assuming in all of your studies, you've got some exposure to composition, but did you intentionally do any composing and arranging before you started to feature classical music? I mean, to feature popular music, or was it the popular music that sort of forced you to consider more of what composition and arranging would be? Does that question make sense?
It's a bit, I'm not sure I understand,
Did you
but
did you
okay.
were you doing composition and arrangement
No, as a
before you
classical
did?
pianist, no.
No,
I
no.
mean, we studied as a compositions,
Right.
but we didn't really learn, and I'm actually really excited about that because as a child I improvised really a lot and loved to like maybe write, compose something, and I played with piano. That's how I kind of learned the piano. I was just playing with all kind of sound effects and different possibilities that my piano could do. But then it kind of got lost because of very strict classical education. And also because probably I always felt a bit like too shy and a bit maybe when I was a kid, I was a bit bullied because I was just easy target, kids just like being kids. So it got a bit like repressed. I mean, I got totally like scared and blocked into letting this to get out and express myself. So maybe making arrangement is like this sneaky way for this to find the way out. So by using other people music, I find the way to express it. But I'm also trying to compose and write myself, but it always feels so like vulnerable and scary. I mean, I do have album with my own songs, but I'm way more comfortable with using other people's music for expressing myself.
But you're experimenting with your own compositions and even releasing them.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like you will progress there too, and maybe even to a great degree. Let's talk about the acoustic piano, because this is Piano Tech Radio Hour. This all started with acoustic pianos, and you of course played acoustic pianos for a lot of your life. Tell us about, tell us just from an artist perspective, someone who has spent so much time with classical music and acoustic piano, but then you've also been doing digital things. Can you compare, speak to someone who doesn't play the piano and tell them what the difference is for you between playing an acoustic versus an electric instrument?
Well, first of all, of course, digital piano is very more predictable. I mean, if I know the brand and I know the piano is good, I know how it's going to be. With acoustic pianos are always full of surprises. I mean, ridiculous things happened, like pedals falling out, things like that. Yeah, I had to play like Bach, beautiful piece with a singer without any pedal. I mean, that was disaster. On the concert it happened. Yeah, I mean, or like strings break and things like that. But when acoustic piano is good, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it just feels so wonderful to play on it. I mean, I don't exactly know how they work, how they do it, but when you play on like beautiful Steinway or Bösendorf, it's like it's to die for, of course. And yeah, digital piano, they cannot reach this kind of feeling. But maybe it's just because I'm a classical pianist, so it's also like built inside my brain, this respect to acoustic piano. So I cannot really be objective about it. I don't know how somebody would feel who doesn't have any emotional connection to, acoustic or like digital is cheaper, easier to maintain, transportable, doesn't need to be tuned, it's so much easier to deal with it. Also, strings don't break. And I had some bad experience with breaking strings, so yeah.
What can you say about, so there's the unpredictability of an acoustic piano.
Yeah.
And then you also said you're kind of improvisational, subtly, or however to whatever degree. But when you're faced with acoustic pianos, you are forced to improvise. Even a pianist who doesn't improvise at all, it doesn't feel very improvisational. Every time they get to a piano, unless they're carrying around their own instrument with them to every show, they've got to improvise in a way. Okay, here's what's in front of me. How am I going to make music out of this?
Yeah, you kind of tune yourself to it, but it goes automatically. It's again like it's like built inside on the backside of your brain. You just kind of tune yourself to the piano. Like you know how it should work, and your body sort of like respond to make it work. I mean, I was always told that I sound good. I mean, so I can make piano sound good. At least that was like one of the qualities that was official when I was a child, that people would tell that things. So I know I can just like tune my body to make the piano work. And also it's like I really love to sing with the piano, like with melodies. That's why I love to play slow songs. Even I'm like metal pianist, but I actually really love to play like slower songs with like very emotional melodies, because I just really enjoy this creating, like talking with the piano. And yeah, of course, with real grand pianos, it's just so much more fun to do that.
Talk about if you if you aren't able to play the piano, like let's say I know that I have my own experience with this, which I find very interesting. But I'm curious of your perspective. Like, let's say you weren't able to play the piano for a week for some reason. You went on some trip, or I don't know. Um, Talk about the experience of getting back to playing the piano, but also what if it were acoustic versus digital, if that makes sense. Does that question make sense
Mm.
to you? So
I mean,
imagine a scenario where you
it
couldn't play
happens
piano
that
for a week.
sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it happens. Also, somehow think like I never really played exercises or whatever, like warming up. But now I feel maybe it's age or maybe it's the thing that I do a lot of work with computer and not just playing piano. That
Hmm.
I feel like, oh yeah, now I really should warm up. I should do exercises. And if I don't play for a while, it's like my body is stiff. And yeah, and I remember how wonderful I had feeling when I got access to really good grand piano and I was able to practice like 6, 7 hours a day because
Mm.
it was like vacation in Weimar Conservatory, and I was waking up too very early to get access to the class, and nobody could kick me out. And it was like the best time of my life because I was practicing, and I really noticed how hands react to like consistent practicing, and it feels so good and so natural to play, and it's so wonderful. Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, obviously body gets more stiff. It's the same with exercises. You don't do exercises, you like kind of lose your form. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I
Does it
don't
affect
think.
you emotionally though? That's also what I was getting at. Do you sort of miss playing it? Is there some sort of emotional connection when you get to actually play music and express the emotions through the
I
music, or
think
is that?
it depends a little bit on my life. If I feel like a bit lost and I really need to express myself, then I really miss the piano because piano is the way for me to express myself. Yes, piano or
Mm,
like dancing, okay, but piano obviously is my way.
right.
So when there is no piano, I'm not good really with words, and yeah, so not safe. I don't feel safe or like in peace or whatever. I need this way to get some peace to express.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I resonate with that. Um, what kind of pianos have you had throughout the years? When you were younger, do you have an upright piano, grand piano? Um,
First, I had upright piano, like it's called Ukraine. I think it was pretty bad, but it was my very first piano. I remember when they put it in the room, and it's so unlike me. For some reason, I told the guy I already know how to play it, and I remember I just like played some nonsense because I had no idea how to play. So actually, I remember the moment when I didn't know how to do that.
mm,
But and then later, my parents bought Blüthner, very old from
yeah.
1905. In Ukraine, it was possible to buy it very cheap because I think you couldn't transport grand piano to Europe, so the price gap was huge. I think
Mm,
my piano was €1,000, and it was Blüthner Grand,
yeah. That would be a
pretty
good
good. And
price.
also, I think I was very lucky with the neighbors because they never complained.
Yes. Yeah, that is hard to come by.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, well, I mean, when I went to Germany, I didn't have my own piano anymore. At some point, I think I bought like Steinway upright, and I had it for a while. But then I started doing covers. I started using digital piano, and I started moving around. So, and at some point I moved to Iceland, and it's just like it's very difficult to have this kind of lifestyle, even with an upright piano.
Mm,
So, like I do have Steinway upright piano officially, but a long time ago I gave it to friends in Berlin who have studio, and it's standing there. It's being loved. It's being used. People record on it. So I'm very happy that it has a very good place.
hmm. And right now you don't have an acoustic, but you're hoping to get one in your current.
Yes,
space?
right now I just cleaned up the corner because there is a friend who is like he's tuning pianos, he's into grand pianos, and he told me that there is a possibility I could like foster a really beautiful piano, or if it doesn't work because it's huge and very heavy, then another beautiful piano, not as great, but still very good.
Hmm.
I'm afraid to talk about that too much because
It might not happen.
it's not there yet.
We won't jinx
But
it.
it would be so wonderful. I cannot wait.
Great. Well, we thought it might be fun to do a little musical interlude at some point. Maybe this would be a good time. Are
Okay.
you up for it?
Okay, I mean, I could try to play. I mean, can't try. I don't I can play a song from Billie Eilish. It's again example of songs that I actually love to play. Even normally I'm like metal or like, System of a Down or Metallica songs. But
Hmm.
for me, I really love this kind of song. I will try to record it with my equipment. And
Yep.
also, yeah, let's see if it works.
All right, thank you. Well, it was beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really I love these stories of people finding their essence, right, that has gone unexpressed. It's
Yeah.
I feel for some reason a special connection or mission to highlight these type of experiences for the world. I think
Mhm.
I've I've noticed, at least among my crowd and people I'm talking at and the things that I'm looking at, the the landscape of what is available in the arts for the public has become very homogenized. So Netflix, or Amazon Prime, or the things that
Mhm.
people consume artistically, unless they're like tuned into some special YouTube channel or something. But the things
Yeah.
that people are kind of fed, they can be very beautiful and well produced in their own way. But
Yeah. Yeah.
oftentimes there's something missing, at least from my perspective, in that really authentic human expression of something very unique and special that only comes from a person's personal explorations.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to hear these stories, and sometimes they don't happen. Sometimes people don't have that moment where they can find what they truly connect with and be able to share it,
I
right?
think it's tragic. I mean, it's probably very sad to like not being able to find it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
I mean, yeah.
yeah. No, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
I remember there was like, I think I received like a list of things you could ask about. And there was
Hmm.
something about artificial intelligence. And actually, like, people sometimes send me like songs, and can you believe it's all completely made by artificial intelligence, and like nothing is like involved. I mean, basically, we don't need humans anymore to produce art that people would enjoy and like be totally fine with it. But I already had this question for myself long before artificial intelligence, because I always struggle about like writing music, improvising or whatever. Like, who needs it? I mean, nobody really needs it. I mean, there's so much good music existing. Nobody in the world needs it. Maybe if I write something and people love it, then they will. But I mean, otherwise, I don't. It's not like a cure for cancer or anything really important. It's just so the only answer for me is like I'm the only one who needs it, and no artificial intelligence can do it for me. I have to find something inside me to express it through music, and if I don't, sure, I can fake it with all kind of tools, and nobody will ever know. But
Hmm.
I will know, and I think that somehow like it's like collecting some dust, and like it feels like inside me it's like no fresh air, and it's like ugh, it's bad feeling inside me that nobody might ever know about. But when you manage to express yourself with something, it feels like real. It's like opening the windows in the apartment and everything gets fresh, and it's such a great feeling. And I think every human sort of needs it, and you cannot, I mean, yeah, you cannot make it by robots, but we only need it for ourselves. Other people maybe don't, but it's just for us to keep on kind of not become just like this couch potatoes and only consumers, but like actually feel something. We need to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Very, very well said. Um, and also on the point of people exploring their own self-expression, right?
Mhm.
Uh, encouraging people to take up an instrument or pick up a paintbrush or do something else that allows them to explore that, as opposed to what else is available, to consume,
Mhm.
or to have it sort of laid out exactly for you how it's supposed to be. Yeah, and my intuition about this is that I mean, the arts and the sciences seem very similar in this respect, in that there's lots of things that you can do in both of those domains where it's actually kind of difficult to say that this is worth doing. You know, they always give, you can always have the example of like, I think it was the polio vaccine or something. I think it was Jonas Salk made the polio vaccine, but it wasn't, the science wasn't being done to create the polio vaccine. It was done to explore science, just for that feeling probably, behind it is somebody who says, I just want to know about this. It makes me feel better if I do.
Yeah, I think that's the only way, like, humans just need it for ourselves, and then byproduct is doing something like this polio vaccine or like beautiful music piece. And that's a little bit what scares me about all this like internet artificial intelligence, because we might get lazy and we just might lose this feeling, because we don't need anymore. Everything can be done so easily. We don't need to like go deep and like try to dig and find something. It's a bit scary, it's vulnerable, whatever, it's so easy not to do that. And that's why I'm a little bit scared about it. And I like specifically don't want to like use help with, it, because I'm scared of just like getting lazy and stop searching for things.
Yeah. I hear that. Yeah. I mean, I personally am exploring AI quite a bit and using it. And the positive side of it is not in music yet, really, but in other aspects. The positive side of it is kind of like other technologies. Well, if you look like something like rock and roll music, right? It's, oh, you have this electric thing that's going to make the passion sound. No, you need to play the acoustic instrument. No, it's not like that. You take that new technology and you create something, you have a Jimi Hendrix who now, because of the electric guitar and the way that he's approaching it, now it's a new level of human expression. And I think AI has that capability for individuals to take AI and say, okay, now I want to do this on top of it. But it's like you said, the art that it makes for its own sake is interesting and it can be enjoyable and all of these things, but the true human expression is in taking something like that and taking it to the human level.
Yeah, I mean, it sure, it's wonderful instrument if it's like used wisely, but like with everything, it's a bit scary that it can, you need to be very strong mentally not to fall into like easy
relying
path,
on it.
Yeah.
There's a use it or lose it kind of ethos there, and that's the thing that I resonate with your sort of concern, is if people get lazy, kind of like you said, and they're not exercising creative capabilities and capacities, it's easy to do on the short term, and it's
nobody
not
will ever know, actually. I mean, it's so easy. It's perfect, but you build up this inside, just what are you going to do about it?
Well, I really appreciate you sharing about this. So thank you for playing, and thank you for sharing here. Tell me what brought you to Austria at the moment. How did that become the place where you're settled currently?
Well, as everything in my life in the past 20-something years, entirely by accident and like just spur of moment decision. I was living in Germany for a long time, and then I was living in Koblenz, and then my husband died, so I moved to Essen, to closer to some friends, because it was like a place with metal clubs, punk clubs, and I just thought, oh, it feels so good. I love those people. I feel so like safe at home with people, like, and I lived there. But then war started in Kiev, in Ukraine. My mom is in Kiev, so she suddenly found herself in a bomb shelter for 2 weeks, hiding from bombs. and it was incredibly scary. I think I was more scared than she was. And I called actually like a mental health hotline because I thought, okay, I'm not dealing with it mentally. It's so scary. My mom is hiding from bombs. And I got only answer that, in your situation, I would feel the same. Nobody could help me. But yeah. But thankfully, my cousin who lived in Greece, by the time she was much better with doing things instead of just freaking out. So she was capable of moving my mom out of that situation, and my aunt too. And I picked her up and I brought her to Essen to live with me. But for someone who just escaped bomb shelter, to live on top of a club was very stressful. And I just had gig in Austria, and like a friend of mine told me, oh, Austria is so much more welcoming to artists. Like some laws here and just like general atmosphere is like they're nicer to musicians, to artists in general. And I think it's true. I mean, from living here, it's somehow those bureaucracy things, you notice those bureaucracy things. It is definitely easy in Austria for an artist. So I just decided, okay, why not? I just moved to Austria. And within 1 month, I moved to Austria. And I just chose this house because it has beautiful green on the wall, and it has a fireplace. And mom always loved houses with green stuff on the wall.
So you brought your mother with you there as well?
Of course, now she lives with me. And also a little bonus, which is really awesome for me. In Vienna, they have club with gothic and metal music that I just go there twice every week because it's the best place. And there was not exactly this kind of place anymore. There was one in Amsterdam, but it closed down. So it's so rare. I'm so happy about it.
So I want to hear more about this. Clearly, it's just very natural for you. What do you think attracts you to this type of music? Do you think there's something about the dichotomy between kind of like the acoustic, kind of classical, sort of historical tone, and then another side of things, or is it not like that? Is it just something different?
It's definitely also comes from me being always like a black sheep as a kid, because I'm like more sad thoughts, more like thinking too much, not really like having much fun and things. Obviously, it influenced the music I love, and also music was always an escape. When you feel really down and then you hear a beautiful song, it feels like, everything can be just fine. But it always feels a little bit like life is so small and music is so big, and this like there's like space and music, and that's it. And there was this like specifically like gothic music. There was this definition that I really loved. It's like everything is fucked. I don't know if it's allowed to say it, but there is beauty in it, and that's how it feels, like this beautiful beauty in a dark place. Something that like brings your soul at peace, even if you're like in a very dark place. And I guess I had tendency to this kind of feelings a bit like, and I always needed music to rest me from dark places. And naturally, gothic, metal, industrial, it has lots of this powerful, dark, but also very beautiful energy that I really can relate to.
Yeah, I resonate with that. Yeah, I feel like when there's a very like Zen quality. It's like the yin and the yang. You have the black and you have the white, and there's a little piece of the white and the black, there's a little piece of the black and the white. Can't have one without the other.
And music is this like always like the music is this white piece in the black, so black always has to be there to like make this harmony.
Right, but there's something therapeutic in a way. It almost sounds like for you to explore the dark territory in order to find the beauty in it, in order to reconcile with it. Yeah.
I guess, but it's also like from what point of view it's dark. When you think about dark things, like eventually we all die, but it's like nothing has like everything that is beautiful now, I know that it's gonna expire at some point sooner or later. So there's always this sadness about anything that makes you happy, but you know it's gonna go away. It's always like there's always this darkness, you know. You can ignore it, but I mean, I cannot. Maybe that's the only difference because for me it's always on the background, but it's just reality. It's being objective. It's not actually really so dark. It depends how you, from human point of view, obviously. Yeah, I mean, we're all gonna die. I mean, that's nothing really
I don't.
happy about.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna be there for it. What did Woody Allen say? Woody Allen something about his funeral and how he's not going to attend it or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I mean, it's. I think it's just point of view. But I mean, there are
Yeah.
people who believe that maybe it's just there's like continuous of life somewhere else, and it be all just like little things that just temporarily. But it's always there. So music kind of, I cannot think too much. It just brings me in this like peaceful moment.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this will resonate with you, but it's part of why I like being. I lived in New York City for a while, um, and what I enjoyed the diversity, just the general
Mhm.
diversity, like lots of people from different countries, different cultures, different, you know, mindsets,
Mhm.
expertise, all these different things are going on. But in a way I enjoyed that the dark and the light are just all there everywhere. You go in the
But
subway, you ride the train, you see a businessman who's making millions of dollars, and you see somebody who's struggling in the same place. And there's no mincing words about that. This is reality. This is
but
how things
it's
are.
true. I always I always try to put my philosophical ideas with some visual things. And it's, for example, like a picture. You only okay, maybe except Malevich. I mean, pictures usually have all kind of colors. You know, there are dark spots and light spots, and it just doesn't work if there's like only light spots. You know, you need all this darkness and everything. It's just beauty of the world in it, I guess. Everything has to exist, and everything will eventually just expire, and something else will come to it, and we will expire, and you know. But it's too much to deal with for like human brains. That's why you need some sort of like music or art or something to just like deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love the perspective, and I appreciate you sharing about your experiences, and I love the uniqueness of it all, and how much it's very characteristic of you and your specific experience. And I hope to see more in the directions that you're going. I hope you do more composition, and you kind of find more of your voice in that direction, if that's what you want to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still like struggling. It's more difficult, more scary, but I'm yeah pushing myself in that. Yeah.
wonderful. Well, everything must expire at some point, and this episode of Piano Tech Radio Hour will soon expire. That's a good
Yeah.
segue. But maybe before we end out, just any final thoughts or words, and also where you might send people to find out more about you and what you're up to.
Oh, obviously my YouTube channel,
Hmm.
my Facebook. I also like more personal. I treat my personal Instagram, which is also Vika Goes Wild, but I just like it's more like daily thoughts and all kind of things. But be aware, I mean, I have dark sense of humor and things, so not everybody likes it, I guess. But obviously, to check my musical stuff, please join me on Patreon.
Oh,
I
Patreon. You
have
have
to
a
say that.
Patreon as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
of
fun.
course. I mean, people who want to support me, it's amazing that they support me on Patreon. I mean, I'm amazed that people want to support me. I mean, I cannot. I'm so grateful.
That's
I mean, we are very
incredible.
lucky that we can like do music and live with it.
Yes, yes. That is the upside of the sort of technological expansion that I decried before. The
Yeah,
Amazons and the Googles and all these things homogenizing things. There are still these windows of expression, which were never possible before.
Yeah,
Never
YouTube. I
mind.
mean, for somebody like me, YouTube, that was the window because I'm alone, I'm by myself, I'm not
Hmm.
bothered by anyone, but everybody can watch it, but I don't
Hmm.
need to think about it. It's like perfect for people like me.
Hmm. Oh, perfect. Um, well, thank you so much for joining us. I'll
Thank
walk
you.
this out here and just say it's the end of another magical musical journey here at Piano Tech Radio Hour. I want to thank you very much, Vika, for joining us and sharing your world with us today. As always, this program is brought to you by Piano Technicians Master Classes, cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. For those of you that join us today by signing up just for this session, make your life more convenient. Subscribe to Piano Tech Radio Hour, just $16 a month. Get the recording of today's session in our member area, as well as automatic registration for each week's new session. You can do that at bit.ly/joinptrh, bit.ly/joinptrh. And then, of course, don't forget about the podcast itself, where you can listen to audio only, pianotechradio.com, the blog at Substack, our socials, in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can look us up. And our masterclass coming up with Glenn Bingham from Steinway on regulation. You don't want to miss that. All right. Thank you very much again, Vika, for joining us, and thank you for everyone that's been here with us today for the program.
Thank you.